Judith Elias. I am the flute choir director of the Lakeland Civic Flute Choir. We are honored today to have George Pope, renowned flutist, as our master class instructor. George is the Emeritus Professor of Flute at the University of Akron and Instructor of Flute at the Baldwin Wallace Conservatory. Principal flute of the Akron Symphony from 1978 to 2002, Mr. Pope has also performed with the Cleveland Orchestra, the Blossom Festival Orchestra, Brevard Music Center Orchestra, and the Spoleto Festival. He is the founding member of the Solaris Wind Quintet and the Chamber Music Society of Ohio. Mr. Pope was named Arts Educator of 2009 by the Akron Area Arts Alliance. His solo CD, Some Measures for Living, was released in 2016 by Crystal Records. Lawrence Vetus, in gramophone, writes, "The wonder of Pope's playing is how engagingly, articulately, flowingly, and objectively he pours himself into his music." In 2018, he received the Distinguished Service Award from the National Flute Association. Our collaborative pianist today is Dr. Robert Brown, Professor Emeritus at Lakeland Community College. He began his piano studies at age 6. At 12, his first gig was as a dance school pianist, followed by at age 14, his first performance with resort bands. After completing master's and doctoral degrees at Indiana and Columbia Universities, he embarked on a 40-year career as music professor and department chair, served at Lincoln Memorial University, Tennessee, and Lakeland Community College. His service as church musician, along with his wife Mary, continues into a 45th year. Our first performer, Olivia Shelton, is a professional trumpeter and retired music educator living in Painesville. She has found new joy for 3 years in the Lakeland Civic Flute Choir.
to our giant audience. So, beautiful job. Beautiful job. You're making a really lovely sound. And how long have you been playing the flute?
Seriously, only for these 3 years.
Yeah.
And mostly bass.
Yeah, well, that's okay. You're doing a great job with it. You're holding yourself really well. You're keeping yourself up, a nice balance in your body. It doesn't look like you're holding a lot of tension in your body anywhere, which is something that we always have to be conscious of. And particularly when we're performing for other people. Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, there tends to be a little bit more excitement in our body, you know, adrenaline kind of takes over sometimes, but you're doing really excellently with that. You're controlling your air well. I'm going to have you turn towards me just a little bit more. Thank you. That'll make our job easier to do. I think that probably the most important thing that I want to work with you on is giving you a little bit more confidence with your technique. When the notes move quickly, you're backing away from the air. That's the number one thing. And that, of course, won't help you at all, will it? You know, so we actually maybe want to use more air when when we have the notes moving faster. Are the ornaments yours?
Yes.
Good, excellent. They're very nice, they're lovely, they're appropriate to the style, and so great job with that. So the first question I'm going to ask you is, do you feel like the flute is balanced in your hands?
I finally got the hang of this, and now
That's
it is.
heavier, yeah. So
If I counterweight it sort of radially.
good. So without the Wind Defender, you felt like you probably had more balance, more control over the instrument?
When I have my pad, this really makes a difference.
I've got pads all over my flute. Anything that helps us feel more confident. Because to get the fingers to move quickly and accurately, we have to feel balanced. We have to feel like we're in control of the instrument. So I'm going to have you do a couple of little exercises for me here. And the first one, that first ornament that you're playing in the first measure, just that little run, exactly. And interestingly, it's a very difficult place on the flute, technically. So we have to work in such a way that we gain the confidence, we gain the accuracy, and the hand position and the finger movement, and we do that. We want to make sure that we're supporting the airstream, like I said before, but also to make sure that you're playing into the keys, that you really feel the keys when you move. So we're going to do some little exercises here. And Judy, do you want to just wave at me when it's time for me to quit? And that way I'll know. Because once I get started talking, I can go on for many hours. So first is we're going to just do the two notes, because in some ways the hardest part of the fingering is the D to the E, because of the cross fingering, right? So what I want you to do is just play the D to the E slowly, just kind of like eighth notes. And just easy, relaxed, feel the airstream go through the instrument. So on any fingering combination of any kind, one way to practice it is by changing the rhythm, right? So if we did a dotted rhythm, a long note and a short note, with just those two notes, do that for me. And what I want you to concentrate on is keeping your fingers close to the keys, right? And just calm but firm. Good. And when you first started out, the E was a little bit weaker than the D was, wasn't it? But you got better at it. So do the opposite rhythm, short, long, but make sure the E has the same sound as the D. There you go. You're feeling your air better, aren't you? Make sure you really support. There you go. Good. Now we're going to add the F sharp, which is again another complication because it's got another cross fingering in it. I vowed I was going to have a neon sign made. Lift your first finger on D natural, but I never did that.
Can I try that again?
Absolutely. And again, feel open, feel like your air is connecting all the way through every note. Good. Now this is the beginning of what Moise calls the exercise technical mastery, right? So when you have a difficult fingering combination, you take 3 notes, which we just did, and you make 4-note patterns out of it. So we just repeated the E natural in the middle. Now let's repeat the D in the middle. Moise's rule is that you have to do it 4 times perfectly. If you make a mistake on the last one, you got to start again. But it doesn't matter how fast they are. What matters is the relaxation and the control of it. So, here we go. Now we're going to repeat the F sharp. And you do them at your tempo. Excellent. Now, we're going to move up. We're going to go E, F sharp, G. Now repeat the E, E, F, E, G. So E, F, E, G.
Using trumpet fingering again.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I was going to say something. So you see, this is, besides being a fingering exercise, this is also a tone exercise too. Really encouraging you to play the same sound on every note. Now we repeat the G. Excellent. Now do. Four notes, just up and down. So. open, right? Don't let your throat close. Okay, so the sound is better. They're still a little bit uneven. So let's do, okay, so it's just the figure by itself. Yes, one more time. Because now you're really thinking about where your fingers are going, aren't you? Sometimes we get so used to, we know what the fingering is, and it's in our head, but we don't always translate it into our hands as clearly as it needs to be sometimes. All right? So, so a longer D, in the group of four, a longer D and a triplet. One more time. That was nice. Now play the very opening, the first measure for me again, with the ornament. Nice, it was much more even, but we had this little bit of panic, and we back away from the airstream, right? We think, oh, if I don't blow, it'll be okay. But that's, of course, the opposite is true, right? So the fingers were nice and even that time, so but blow through it when you play it. Yes, ma'am, yes. So now let's, with that same idea, oh, how are you doing that?
I
Oh,
have two C sharps.
repeating
Down
C
the
sharp.
suspension.
Good. So as I'm looking through your ornamentation, I'm not seeing a lot of other 30-second notes, right?
Right.
So it's really just the first one there that is the most important for you to become confident with. If you can do that, if you can play those notes that fast, that well, anything else will be easy. And I've just given you hopefully something new, a new way to think about practicing technical passage work so that you can gain more confidence about it. So I usually tell my students, my little young, naive, fresh students, have 10 variations on any figure that you can play. 10 rhythms, 10 articulations, 10 patterns that you can do just to reinforce the way that you play those notes. So start the second section for me, because I want to hear your, is that a gruppetto or mordent? The C natural.
Inverted mort.
Inverted mordent. Great. Good. So if you'll just wait a little bit longer, I'm getting the wave here, but we're going to finish this one idea. If you wait just a hair longer for the grace note, I think you're a little afraid of them still, but don't be. You've got the fingerings worked out now. Okay, dear, it sounds fantastic, and now you're much calmer about doing it, right?
Yes.
Any questions?
No, and I will set a new target. I usually have, I say real practice is 2 and 3 notes, but I didn't say 10 times. So, yeah, 10 ways.
And
that's a jazz concept.
yeah, absolutely. So bravo. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
performed the second movement, Cantabile, of the Concerto in D major by Antonio Vivaldi. Our next flutist is Jackie Zilke. She is a retired public school music and reading specialist. She lives in Madison and plays with the Lakeland Civic Flute Choir and the Lake Winds Woodwind Quintet. She is performing numbers 5 and 6 of short stories by Gary Shocker.
Rogue the flute player.
Right.
Jack, if you don't mind, would you stay a little bit closer to the piano?
Does that help?
Yeah.
Oh, distance,
Yes, yeah,
distancing.
yeah, kind of face a little bit towards me if you don't mind. Yeah.
Okay,
It feels weird having the audience out there.
that's, sorry, I should have been waiting off stage. Anytime?
Anytime.
I messed up exactly where I knew I was gonna.
So you planned on messing up there?
I try not to. I practiced that pattern a bazillion times,
So here's a little,
and my nerves got to me.
well, of course. So here's a little something to think about, all right? The impression that I get from the words that you're using, it sounded to me like you were practicing the passage to fix a mistake that you'd made before. And it's better if you think about it a different way. If you think about, number one is when you're first learning it, make sure you don't go any faster,
Right.
then you can play it perfectly. And then if you do make a mistake someplace, don't immediately go, oh,
I know. That's what I would have told my students.
exactly. And you know, telling our students is a lot easier than telling ourselves how to do things.
And I talked to myself all the way here. You've got
Okay.
this.
So,
and I would play that slow and then increase, and then I would play backwards.
Yep.
And I did it beautifully at
You
home
did
this morning.
everything you needed to do, but you built a red flag on it.
I did.
And so as you were approaching that place, you could see that red flag coming up. And so it made you tense up a little more. I observed you when you were playing in certain passages. I mean, normally you would stand very nice. You'd have a nice open stance this way. But some passages you would tend to bring your right shoulder in and you'd sort of start coming in this way, kind of
Tightening up.
crushing your body a little bit.
That's interesting.
And that's a reflection of the tension, of the anticipation, right? So, Mr. Gilbert, one of my teachers, Jeffrey Gilbert, said, practice succeeding. So if something goes wrong, don't build up this huge wall around it, right? Just go back and play it slowly enough that you can play it perfectly, and then don't try to make something happen. I was watching a voice master class on TV the other day, and Joyce DiDonato, who's this famous mezzo, and she said to the student, she said, the process is what will get you the result. Now, when you have done that correctly, don't try to recreate the result. Recreate the process. So it's not worrying about, is this going to be right or not? It's worrying about, thinking about, how am I going to do it? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Right. She said that and I just went, bing! That's just a brilliant way of putting it. You know, because we get it right, we go, oh, I'm going to do it right again. Oh, I'm going to do it right again. Not, how did I make it right?
Yeah.
Right? And if you can focus on the process, you'll feel more confident.
And I had decided I was going to tongue the first note of that, even though I wasn't supposed to.
Right,
Because
right.
I found when I tongued it, it calmed me down
Yeah.
and gave me time to think. But
Right.
then I didn't do it when I played it. And I was worried about the tempo because I know that was already slow.
Right? It's fine.
Than it
you
was
know,
supposed to be, but I should have slowed it
here's
down
my
some
theory
more.
on tempos. That's a guideline. The composer says, this is where I hear it. And you go, okay, this is where I hear it. Right? And so give yourself that room, you know.
I think I did rush.
There are no pianists chasing your heels
I
here.
know, I know.
So you take the time that you need, right?
I took it faster than I intended
Now, we're
to.
talking specifically about measure 5, the F, G, A. Did you hear any of my discussion with Olivia?
No, I should have been off stage. But I
About
wasn't.
the practicing. Here's, in the third octave, this exercise is called technical mastery. And Moise
Yes.
codified this idea. And the third octave is a fantastic place to practice this because the fingerings are all very complicated.
Right.
So just really quickly, I want to talk about that with you too. So we're going to play F, G, and A flat. Those 3 notes, but we're going to make 4-note patterns. So we're going to go F, G, A flat, G. And we're going to do it 4 times perfectly.
I'm not too with you.
Now,
Okay. Ooh,
that's okay.
okay.
Bravo, beautiful.
I did do that at home.
No, wait.
All right. Okay.
I know you did.
Okay.
But it's doing it here that counts, right?
Yes.
Now we're going to repeat the F. We play the F twice.
Yeah.
Okay, pretty close, pretty close. Now we're going to repeat the A flat. Oh, I didn't do it.
Oh.
Now play.
sorry.
Now, you've practiced it a bajillion times, so it's already in there. But you have to allow yourself to do what you practiced.
I
This
know.
is this. Every one of us has this goal. You practice it, but it sounded so good when I practiced it. You have to allow yourself to access the process, right? How did I make that happen?
And I wish I would have started slower.
There you go, right?
Yeah.
And so it's your choice. Now, the other thing I wanted to talk, I thought you had a very lovely phrasing in the first movement, the fifth movement. I thought the phrasing was really lovely. I felt like your E flats were not as pretty sounding, as focused sounding as the other notes around it.
I'm having trouble with those fingers, so I don't think it's closing.
All the way. You're not covering it all the way. Okay. You know, if I'm having any hand problems, I have plugs. You got one? Okay, so it isn't that one that's bothering you. That one's closing.
I don't think.
Oh, you don't think you're pushing it?
Yes.
So let's do kind of a variation of what we just did. We're going to play B flat, A flat, G flat, F, E flat. All those flats. Do it in the right octave, George.
What'd you play? B flat,
E
A
flat, A flat, G
G.
flat, F, E flat. Now the lower octave. There you go. You also opened up more in the back of your throat when you did that. That resonance is absolutely crucial in our tone. The whole range, right? And you know this. But you just have to make that happen. Feel as if you're expanding as you go lower into the notes that aren't as easy. Now, let's do just B flat, G flat, E flat. That openness again. Nice. Now we're going to start with that E flat pickup.
At the beginning?
Uh-huh. Felt more confident, didn't it? And of course, when you're first playing for somebody, you're playing solo on a big stage, there's all of these other things we're hearing and we're aware of that we weren't conscious of, that we don't think about when we're practicing. Another thing that I always try to do is practice as if I'm performing as well. You know, slow, whatever I'm doing, pieces, fragments, whatever, but as if somebody's listening to me.
I did that so many times with the fast movement, thinking, all right, you screwed up that measure. You know, when I'm adjudicating, I tell kids, it's the whole piece. It's not just one mistake you've made, so just let it go, but I didn't let it go.
Well, but you played that whole movement very, very well, so don't beat yourself up about that one measure, please.
Okay, I won't.
Please don't.
It was fun to play.
Because
it was so fun to learn.
And the whole thing is about, as you were just saying, it's about the whole piece. It's about the mood. It's about the expression. It's about getting the audience to react to the music the way that you feel about it.
You're right.
Right? And you have, you know, that's one of the magic things about music is that it is temporal. It happens right now.
Mm-hmm.
And if something doesn't go the way you planned it,
It's gone.
let go of it.
Right, you're right.
Very hard to do, but we have to practice doing that, of just focusing in the moment and ahead of where you're going with all of this. So be really conscious. Now, other than that one passage, was there anything that was hard for you to do? I thought you did great with in the movement 6 with the different metric phrasing. I thought you did that really well.
Thanks.
I thought you felt the phrasing very well. Very folk oriented, isn't it? Very much like a
lament or, yeah.
Eastern European
Yes,
dance.
yes.
You know.
Yeah.
And
Movement 6, the tonguing was challenging. The places where the phrasing, you didn't expect it. Right.
Yeah. But you did that perfectly.
Yeah.
Now, I want you to play for me the C flat that's in measure 32.
Am I in the slow movement?
No, fast movement.
Okay, measure 32. C flat? Oh, 32, sorry.
Yeah.
I'm looking at 31.
That's okay. Because I want you to get the air down in the flute more, right? You blew harder to make it louder, but the air kind of went over the top of the flute a little bit.
Okay.
Get the air down into the flute. Just play the note with the fermata for me. Remember that resonance we were getting
I
in the
did.
low register?
Yeah.
Feel that. There you go. And then when we attack that note, beep, beep, everything has to stay the same.
Yeah, I think that's what I didn't do.
Good. Maybe a little vibrato would help it. That'll help you focus it just a little bit
Okay.
more. Okay? So always remember, use your air, right? Really energize the airstream all the way through, all the moving notes.
Yeah.
Trust your air.
Yeah.
Okay?
I've got some arrows, like, don't forget, keep the air moving. But
Yeah,
when
we
you're
give
nervous,
ourselves-
all those little marks
We
just...
give ourselves all these marks, but we have to follow them. Good. Pleasure to hear you. Bravo.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for your help.
Oh, you're very welcome.
It was fun.
Our next flutist is Bonnie Spitlick, and she is the principal flute in the Suburban Symphony Orchestra Beechwood. She is a member of the Lakeland Civic Band and the Solon Community Band. Bonnie is an active member of the Greater Cleveland Flute Society, where she is a trustee and the newsletter editor, and plays in the Erie Waters Flute Ensemble. She teaches privately at her home in Pepper Pike. She will be playing the first movement, Allegro Leggero, of the first Sonata Number 1 by Eric E. Wason.
piano playing too. Thank you
Yeah,
very
thank
much.
you very much.
Good. I don't know this piece.
Really?
No, at all. I've never played any Oasis. I've somehow managed to miss it along the way. So the one thing that sort of kept happening, I felt, was that you looked ready to play, and then there was just a little bit of delay in the attack each time. Is this the first time you've read it with piano?
Last week.
Last week, okay. So I think, I just feel like you need to attach yourself to the motor more clearly, right? So maybe breathe a little earlier, maybe get set a little bit earlier so that when you're attacking, because he has 16th notes running a lot of the time, and we have to match that. We have to really just connect to that. So that at the very beginning, it's not 16ths at the beginning, is it? It's just bim, bum, 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 beam, something like that. Just really gentle 6/8, kind of a Sicilian feeling a little bit, isn't it? Yeah. So let me just try it at the beginning again, and I want you to be just zeroing in for your attack, so that it just really lines right up with the rhythm from the keyboard. Good, Monty. Yeah, it still was just a tiny bit late. So so do for me on the just from the beginning when he starts. Just go. Just to feel like you're playing with him even before you start. Did that feel different?
A little bit.
Yeah, yeah.
It made me listen more.
Yeah, but it felt more calm out here, right? So you're giving your audience the benefit of, oh, here's a very relaxing little melody. So keep them also relaxed as well when you're doing that. Good. I would love to hear more of that hairpin and those first two phrases. You're kind of letting the G stay a little neutral, and I feel like the G should be really growing to the peak of the phrase when it goes up up to the C. Right? Could you do that by yourself? Would you mind doing that? Yeah.
Could do more?
I think it could be more, you know. It's piano, maybe. It depends on how you feel about it. I mean, there's certainly a long way to go in building this. But I think just that, you know, over-exaggerate it, and then if you feel like it's too much, you can pull back a little bit. But maybe at least mezzo forte. I just think that arch is really important, right? Because then he does the really long arch then after that, you know, starting in measure 11 there, and then it goes bigger, and then it goes bigger, and it goes bigger, you know. So make those gestures, those dynamic gestures, enough that all the people all the way back there can feel you. They go, oh, there, that was a crescendo. Okay? Let's do it with the piano again from the beginning. That had a lot more heart in it for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. You felt good about that too, didn't you? Yeah, because if you can feel that coming through your airstream, then that's going to absolutely project to the audience, isn't it? If you get those little tingles and go, ooh, that feels good, you know, you're reacting to it, then that's absolutely going to connect with the audience there. So don't be shy about it, right? Just sing it out. If it's too big, you know, better to be too big than to be too small in these kind of gestures here. Long, long phrases. And so, so let's talk about when you have the kind of accompaniment figure starting around measure 60. Again, this was a little bit like I was talking about at the beginning.
Yeah.
You miscounted a little bit, but you got back in, and it was fine. But what I felt was kind of throwing you off was that you were late starting on the second eighth note, and I would probably breathe less often, you know, so that you're not letting the breath get in the way of the attack of the time. So that bum 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 dee da 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 da. So at least go, you know, a whole measure without breathing. And so that you're just ready, you know, to go. No, it just speaks right when it's supposed to. Where's a good place to start around there? Want to do like 57?
59?
59?
59.
Okay.
59?
Yeah, good. Fantastic, yeah. That feels really different too, doesn't it? Yeah. When you're just like, you're just sitting on the groove there, you know, and you just play. It's not that you're not reacting to the piano, to the accompaniment, to the other part of the music. You're with it. And then that way it really, really connects fantastically that way. Good. So then at 88, then we have, this is bigger and higher, but we still need that, you know, that arch in it. You want to do that phrase there?
Sure.
Yeah.
Where are we?
88,
88?
where it's like the beginning.
Do you have the two measure intro?
All right.
Just The dynamics are starting to expand more, right? And
like at the end, 109, 110, each one of those has to crescendo there. I would also suggest 117, 118. I would crescendo a lot to the bottom of 118 so that the subito piano has more effect. Right? So, dee-dum, dee-da-da-da-da, dee-dum, dee-dum. Then you'll have a bigger effect there. You want to try that? Where's a good place?
111?
111. That's good. So all those shapes. Okay. Stop counting. I think we've got to stop now.
I'm sorry, I wasn't counting there.
No, that's okay. Bravo. Thank you both very much. Excellent job. Excellent.
Thank you, George.
Thanks for introducing me to it as well.
This is my favorite piece of his pieces that he's written.
Excellent.
Thank you so much, George, for the masterclass.
Well, thank you. My pleasure. Thank you all. Enjoy. Have a great day.